start again. Maybe I just sign with my work one. You can use that, like on Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird, man.
Pretty sure my work has. Okay.
All
All
right.
right. Welcome back again to Sideline. We had to cut our last one short, so we are back at it. Reset 40 minutes. We're gonna talk about the Nuggets in this episode, a Denver focused episodes today. They just won about an hour ago, won against the Toronto Raptors in overtime, barely, skin of their teeth. Should not have been close whatsoever, and they won by 2 points in overtime. But they did win. They got the monkey off their back. The first two games, some of the most atrocious vibes I think that we have had in Denver in 5 years, 6 years. I don't even. Vibes have been pretty good for a while.
It,
I
it
guess
was it,
2022.
it was pretty I would say it was pretty bad after game 2 of the Wolves series. But
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's not like in season, like, you know what I'm saying? Like almost, yeah, it's not like it yeah, it's not like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever.
yeah. I would. It was bad when MPJ was announced that he got injured again in
Right.
2022. That was bad. That was pretty awful. But
But that's like also that's an injury. That's not like them playing bad. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. Like I
Yeah.
don't know when. Like I'm trying to think of when the vibes, like when they won the championship and they were just like sleepwalking through the last half of the season. That was pretty bad. But they like everyone knew that they were sleepwalking. Like you could
Yeah.
tell that they didn't care.
Like I don't think I've ever been unconfident, I guess, when
Yeah,
watching in this era, when watching Murray, like even back 2017, 18, these dudes were fighters. I'm
yeah,
like, man, like I would go to war with these guys. And like I was thinking like, oh man, if we beat the Timberwolves in this game 82, we can give the Warriors a run for their money,
yeah,
like that's what I was like thinking with those guys. And then obviously the bubble also coming back from 3-1 twice just reassured me that they just don't quit. I guess that's what it is. The first time you've seen like quit, I guess, out
yeah.
of
Because
out of
it
them.
goes back. Like this goes back to the playoffs. The last time we
Yeah.
saw them play meaningful basketball, they straight up like quit 2 games in a row. Game 6 in Minnesota, they had a chance to close them out, and they just like quit. That was like the worst effort I've ever seen in my life. And then Game 7 against Minnesota at home, they just like stopped playing basketball for 5 minutes in the third quarter, and that lost them their season. They just like they thought it was sweet, and they lost their season because of it. So that I think that is probably what's wrong. Like they have like quit and they won a championship and they got very complacent. I think about a lot of things. Um, how that has carried over a full like 18 months later, I do not know, but I think that's a good point. The Tyler's video is um what is wrong with the Denver Nuggets, because there is something wrong. Like yeah, they won a game and they looked like themselves down the stretch of that game. Fine, they were down 10 with like 3 minutes left, and they finally looked like themselves. They got stops. They were able to get in the paint. Jokic has been incredible 2 games in a row, but they haven't looked like themselves for most of this season. I thought the beginning of that OKC game, they looked good, right? They were up, what, 19-10 or something. But after that point, it was just awful. The Clippers game, they didn't look like themselves at all for most of the game. The only reason they got back in it was because Jokic started hitting every single three he saw. And then in this game, I don't really think they look like themselves until late. And I don't know why that is. Like that part of it is kind of weird. Like they offensively, there's just it's not a KCP thing, right? Because the starters have been fine, but the second you integrate any sort of bench player in there, it's just like
Yeah.
it's just awful. And I have no clue why. It really is insane. A lot of people point to Russ being the issue. I do not think that is true. Actually, I don't know if you're here still.
Yeah, I'm here. What happened?
Oh,
Was
yeah.
I frozen or something?
No, yeah. I like Russ is not the issue to me. Honestly, he's been good through the offensively. He hasn't been good. Yeah, obviously has not shot it well, but he's been like a bright spot, honestly, for the Nuggets. Like legitimately, I think he's been good in the time that he's played. I don't know what do you think? What is because I think that's kind of the bigger storyline is like what his play because he obviously is going to get blamed for any sort of issue that Denver has by people who don't watch the games.
Yeah. No, I mean, has he been like good overall? I don't think so. I mean, he's still whatever. He was 2 for 18 coming in this game. He shot a lot better, obviously, 3 for 7. I did think the hate for him after that Clippers game was overblown. I thought he actually played well, especially I believe in the first half, if I'm remembering correctly. One of the halves, I thought he played really well. His defense was good, and then I think his rebounding has been good and valuable. They put him in multiple times at the end of this Raptors game in for MPJ, like they would do with Christian Braun when KCP was in the lineup. So, they're treating him like he's Christian Braun, kind of just that's kind of what he is. Like rookie Christian Braun. He can't shoot.
Yeah.
Um, you know, but he turns the ball over more than, but he has the ball more obviously than Christian Braun. But just a guy that causes havoc on defense. He can get lost in screens and off the ball. He falls asleep sometimes, but when he is engaged on the ball, I mean, he ripped James Harden. Um,
Oh
he
yeah.
make he makes plays. He makes big time blocks. And then in transition, I thought in transition, especially this game, he was amazing. There was one where he took it for a layup. I mean, just blew by everybody, took it in for a layup. And then there were like 2 or 3 assists that he had in transition that I thought were pretty nice plays. There's one where he like could have kicked it out to the corner, but then he saw Porter cutting at the last minute down the lane and found Porter for a dunk. That was a nice play. So his shooting is horrible. I mean, he can't shoot.
Yeah.
Even in the mid, I mean, his mid range is completely gone now. He used to be an okay mid range shooter. Um, and that is just an air ball. Like every time, it's pretty much an air ball. It's insane.
Yeah. Like
But
I remember when he was with OKC, he would shoot that mid range, but he would get
yeah,
so much elevation on his shot, and it was like a line
that's
drive
that's probably what it is. Yeah,
because he was like literally neck and neck with the rim, so he could shoot it hard, and it
right.
would be fine because it would just go straight in. Now that athleticism is not all the way there, so if he shoots it at the same angle that he used to, it looks awful. And he's adjusted with it. He's definitely shooting with more arc now than he has previously. So he's definitely adjusting to that. So yeah, the shooting is bad. But honestly, we all knew it was going to be bad. Like coming into the season, I was not expecting. I know Calvin Booth said it in the press conference and media day where he's like, honestly, we think the shooting is going to be better than people expect. I was not buying that for a single second. Like he is not at this point in his career. If he hadn't figured it out, he's not going to figure it out. So him being a bad shooter was expected, but he's still doing a lot of the other things that I think Denver's bench has sorely needed over the last year. He's generating so many paint touches and so many shots at the rim. He's getting in transition, like you said. He's done an exceptional job of speeding up Denver's pace with the second unit, which is the only way that they can possibly figure out how to score the ball. And he's done defensively. He's been great. Like you said, when he's engaged on the ball, he has been really, really, really good. Like I'm confident with him on the ball. When he's off the ball, he still is like he's so focused on the basketball. Like when he's off the ball, he's just staring directly at the ball handler. It's like, dude, come on. Like the amount of times he gets lost on cuts or someone will just float
Mm,
up like a couple extra feet and get an open look when he's off the ball is actually kind of insane. It happened today. I mean, Grady Dick got 3 free throws because he was just sinking towards the paint for no reason at
yeah.
all. But then he does a lot of good things on the ball. I mean, he had a couple block shots. He didn't have a block shot today, but against the Clippers, he had block shots. Against OKC, he had a couple block shots. He's been really good on the ball. His steals have been really good. His energy as a whole, like Denver
Yeah.
needs that energy because you
No,
can tell,
right.
like,
I've felt that. I've actually felt like the bench has had more energy this year than it did last year for sure. And the thing to remember too, I mean, it's insane that like these guys have never played with you. It's a brand new bench. Strother
yeah,
didn't play last year, really, any real minutes outside of, that little stretch he had up until he got injured. Um, so Peyton Watson hasn't really played with Strother. Westbrook obviously has never played with any of them. Sharish has never played with any of them. Payne Watson hasn't played with three-quarters of the bench. So I mean, these guys haven't played with each other. Um, and you're like critiquing them extremely hard for a bench we've never seen after 2 games. It's like, hold on, relax. Like Strother, as he showed, I thought he can be, if everything goes right, he's like a theoretical good shooter. It's just like you expect him to be a good shooter, but he hasn't proved it yet. So it's still like theoretically he's a good shooter. But he went 2 for 2 from three today. And if you can get 9 points out of him per game and he shoots like 37% from three, you'll take that with Westbrook's couple layups here and there in his assists. Shars has looked really bad. Like
he's looked awful.
which is
he's like the sore thumb.
but
It's
like I know, but again, it's hard to fit in. He's only played like 15 minutes probably in total with all these guys. And like those post moves that he made today were horrendous, but I've seen him make good moves before. Like he was okay in the preseason. He's amazing in the Olympics. I mean, he was like
yeah.
going crazy with the post moves in the Olympics. With the Warriors, he sometimes made them. Defensively, I mean, he's atrocious, but I think offensively, the post moves, he's had like 3 or 4 opportunities and they've looked like really ridiculous every single time. Um, but I think more of a sample size. Hopefully, he can get it going again. I mean, this is what his like fifth
Yeah.
team in 5 years. So, I mean, probably it's hard for him to get into a rhythm early in the season. And then I think Watson offensively has been terrible too, which is sad to see. But
But
yeah,
here's the thing with Watson too, because I mean he's coming off a like he didn't play in
right. He
preseason
didn't
at all.
play at all. Exactly. That's the annoying
So
thing.
he's still
So
getting to this. He's still trying
right.
to get to the same level that these other guys are. And
So I look at it.
obviously, yeah, keep going.
My bad. I look at it like the starting lineup right now has a net differential of plus 15. I believe this is updated. Maybe hopefully it's updated. I don't know. Plus 15, whether it was plus 15 after 2 games or after this game, which it would have gone up probably after this game because all the starters were like plus 8 or 9 or 10 this game. So I look, the starters have been just as good. I think Christian Braun has been better than KCP had ever been in his little stretch. Maybe he had a little stretch where he made like 4 or 5 threes in 3 straight games, but I know Brown can't really shoot, but he's averaging like 15 points a game, getting all these rebounds. Defensively, he's probably better than KCP. I'm sounding like Calvin Booth right now, but um, I think he's been great. So I think, the starting lineup, you would assume Michael Porter doesn't shoot 18% from three for the rest of the season. And Murray, okay, maybe you could expect him to shoot like 6 for 20 for the rest of the season, but like he had a good game against the Clippers. So like they've been good, and I think there's still potential for them to be even better. Obviously, you don't foresee Jokic making 10 threes in 2 games either, but you know, you also don't expect them to fall off at all. So I think
Yeah.
the starters have been good with potential to be better, and I think the bench is brand new. I think this is the worst we're going to see it. Potentially, you can put Zeke Naji in there instead of Saric, test it out a little bit, see what the word is with Zeke Naji, and then move on from there and really find a solid bench unit. Just give it like 15, 20 games. It's like game 3, like settle down against
Yeah,
good teams
I
too.
think
I mean, before this
yeah,
game.
you do have to give it more time. I've been reactionary with it. The Sharks just looked so bad. I mean, he was benched in the second half. He was -9 in 4.5 minutes, and he was
Yeah.
0 for 3 with 2 turnovers. He was legitimate. That was like one of the worst stretches by any player I've
You know
seen
what? You know
in the
what it
last like
reminded
5
me
years.
of? When he got like 2 post ups in a row. It would be like when Jeff Green got a post up. It's like, really, man, this is the offense they're running is a Jeff Green post up, and now it's the Shards post up
It
because they
was
run it like specific, design plays for that.
yeah. It was bad. I Here's the thing. My thing with the bench, right? I think in a perfect world, it works good because I think majority of their points should come in transition, right? You have 3 guys the three of the four guys you play off the bench are transition players, right? Russell Westbrook, Julian Strawther, and Peyton Watson. All three of those guys should get a lot of their points, easy points out in transition. Strawther should get a lot of both of his threes today were transition threes, right? They're guys pushing the ball up the court, him getting the ball in an advantageous position, and him just pulling. That's what he should do. I thought he played a good game today. Peyton Watson, his one bucket today was in transition, getting a dunk, cutting to the rim, and he had a couple other ones where he straight up just missed them. Russell Westbrook, two of his three baskets were or one of his three baskets was in transition. Like that's how they should get points. I like when they play like that. Saric is strictly a half court player. I mean, this is a guy who wasn't athletic to begin with. And then when he was like 27, he tore his ACL. So he's automatically going to be less athletic. And now he's 30 years old. So that's just the point where guys like him start to plateau off in terms of their play. So it's just hard for me to envision their play styles meshing together to actually play well. Because I look at Saric, he's a hub, right? He's a playmaker. We look at those post touches, we think they're disgusting, but that's like what he's good at. I guess theoretically, like that's what he's made his career out of is posting up and making mismatches and facing up and taking advantage of those positions. But he hasn't gotten a lot of those this season because they've run so much stuff of him being like a screener and him being like a pick and roll guy rather than him being a hub and playmaking out of the post. And I don't know if that's possible with him playing next to Russ because Russ is so on ball that you can't like you're not going to take the ball out of his hands for him to be off ball and be a cutter and be a shooter or anything like that. That's just not him. So I look at that and I'm like, okay, if you're going to make him be a screener and a roller and a guy who should be down low every single possession, then put in Zeke. Zeke can do that, and he can actually. I think he can space the floor a little better than Dario at this point. At least what they showed in preseason. So that's my thought process with it. But at the same time, like you're 100% right. These guys have never played. They have played 8 total games together, right? They'll practice games, whatever scrimmages that they played. That doesn't mean a thing. Like once you actually get out onto the court against someone else is when it really matters. So they haven't played together at all. They do need more time to gel and mesh. But I think if Denver is like middling around 500 after 15 to 20 games, yeah, then you have to consider making a legit change. I think on the second night of a back-to-back, I think is a good time to experiment with some stuff early in
Yeah.
the season. They play
Yeah.
Brooklyn, so
Wait
maybe see
until
Lonzo.
wait until Najee gets like 3 fouls in 5 minutes and then put in Saric. And I mean
Yeah,
that could be like a real formula. I mean, maybe. I
yeah,
mean, um, yeah, those are all great points you made. To it, and Zeke is better in transition as well. As you said, all
yeah,
these other guys are transition guys. Um, I wonder if Vlatko gets a chance.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, I thought Zeke played well in the preseason. I think he's going to get a chance at some point for sure.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I
so
think so too.
yeah.
But yeah, I think that I mean that's the biggest thing with the bench. I mean, you mentioned the starters; they're net rating plus 15, whatever it is. Like they have been legitimately good. Christian Brown, I like no joke, has been the second best player on the Denver Nuggets through 3 games. Like the first game against OKC, I thought he was incredible. His defense is like I thought it might take a little bit of a drop because he's gonna have to be better offensively. But he's been offensively. I mean, he's attacking the rim with so much confidence right now. And at the very least, right, he's still not that great of a shooter. He hasn't shown a lot. He didn't make a three today, which was actually like a huge three. And it was kind
Bro,
of
that
empty.
three was so random. I know.
Like it
Yeah,
was, it
it
was
was so
huge three,
huge. It was huge.
but he hasn't really shown too much through 3 games shooting wise. But his finishing looks way, way, way better. And that was another issue with him. Like for as athletic as he is, and how easily he gets to the rim, he was not finishing at the rim as much as he
Right.
should have. And he's been incredible at the rim. Obviously, he had the dunk today, but he's been really good finishing at the rim, going both directions. Like I've been super, super impressed with him. And the defense, like it has not fallen off at all. He is so disciplined. He's so smart. He's strong enough to keep up with bigger players, and he's big enough to be able to bother a lot of the smaller guys. He's fast enough to keep up with quicker guys. His anticipation is great. His contests are always perfect. So honestly, like I love that fit that they have with him. That was not a concern for me going into the season anyway. Everyone was freaking out about that. I was never really concerned about it. It should absolutely not be a concern now. But someone on Twitter, they made a great point where it's like, yeah, Christian Brown coming up in the starting lineup wasn't the issue, but it's the fact that there wasn't a replacement for him on the bench. They have the KCP replacement is there. That was Christian Brown. That's been Christian Brown since they drafted him. They knew that that was a possibility, but like going forward, who was going to take the Christian Brown role and be like the steady guy off the bench? They don't really have that now. It is definitely going to be up and low. The ceiling for the bench is still really high. I still do believe that, but the the floor for the bench is so low. I mean, we've seen it so far. I mean, because you look right now, the bench scoring wise, it's not bad. Strawther and Westbrook both 9 points.
Right.
Peyton Watson even
Exactly.
though he went 1 for 5, he got to the free throw line 4 times, which is really good. That's what you want him to do. He had 6 points, so like you get 25 points from three guys off your bench. That's really solid. It just sucks when the fourth guy off the bench is it played as bad as Saric did. So there's
Yeah.
just a little bit of tweaking to go. I did like the change that Malone has made recently. I like Michael Porter Jr. with the bench over Jamal Murray. I think he realized that. I think he realized okay, Russ and Jamal does not work unless you have Jokic on the court. And so yeah, I think that there's potential with it. They're still tweaking. They're still figuring it out. Peyton Watson coming back into the lineup after missing preseason also screwed it up because these guys are playing with Hunter Tyson for 4 games. So it's like, okay, obviously that's not what it's gonna look like. It's just a completely different look. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you gotta have patience. You gotta have patience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One thing I feel like I've noticed, I heard the DMVR guys say it, and then I feel like I maybe noticed at the end of this game is like how they're getting tired. Specifically, I feel like Aaron Gordon, there was one play where he was just jogging back. Um, and a Raptors guy was, in front of him in transition. And Gordon's just jogging and they throw it up to him. This is like late in the fourth quarter with like 3 minutes left in the game. And they throw it up full court to him and they get an easy layup. I'm like, why is he jogging right now? Like he looked tired there. Porter, I feel like lacks energy in the fourth. I mean, Christian Brown is amazing. I mean, he plays 40 minutes a game and just keeps going and going. But um, I don't know. I wonder what if that's like a real thing, if they are actually tired. But it seems like it. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it does seem it's weird. It seems like they're old. Like that's what it looks like.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
know they're not. No one is 30. The first guy to turn 30, I think, is Jokic, and that's in February, and then Aaron Gordon's like right after that. So like they're obviously not old, but it just seems like they're old. Um, Specifically against these young teams because I thought they looked fine conditioning wise against the Clippers, and the Clippers are an older team. Um, but like the Raptors, that's a bunch of young guys. I don't think they played a single actual vet outside of Pirtle today. I mean,
Yeah, that's
Jason
true.
Battle was like playing legitimate regular season minutes today, and I was like, what? And he was playing
Yeah,
good. I was
I
like,
know.
what the heck?
Uh,
I didn't even know he was in
ah,
the league. That was insane. um, but yeah, I just think like when they go against younger teams who play with so much energy, who play fast and play hard in the regular season, I think it's going to be difficult. Which is why against OKC, I think they look so bad because OKC is like such an
yeah,
outlier team where they are so good, but they're all so young, and they just have more energy than the Nuggets do at that point in the year. So that's why I think regular season it's going to be hard because I think this team they understand they have to conserve energy for a playoff run. They can't go full tilt for every game like they did last season, otherwise they're just going to run out of steam. But
right.
nonetheless, it is an issue conditioning wise. Like they 3 games in, you can't be looking like they were today. I mean, Jamal was like straight up. It looked like he was about to collapse on the court in overtime, and I was like, "Good lord!" Like that is insane. Uh, yeah, that is insane. I don't know how that was bad. But I mean,
Yeah,
overall though, I think there's a lot to look forward to. I mean, Aaron Gordon almost had a triple double in this game, and he was two.
I
Aaron
know.
Gordon has been good so far. 2 for 2 from 3-point land, 6 of 8 from the free throw line. He's looked a lot more comfortable at the line, which is the biggest realistic improvement that we could ask
Yeah.
for. 8
And
assists for
so
him.
is Christian Brown, honestly, to me.
Yeah, Christian Brown has looked a lot better at the free throw line. Um, yeah, I mean, I like what I'm seeing from the team because they have shown improvement through 3 games too. I mean, they like against the OKC, it just looked like they were bored and like they didn't care, like they forgot the regular season started. But then against the Clippers, they go down 18 early and they fight back. Like they fight back hard. There's a stretch where they're legitimately playing very, very good basketball.
Yeah.
They go up 7 in the fourth quarter. It's a game that they should have won. And in this game too, like they showed fight. They came back. The bench showed something when you staggered, experimented with different lineups. You saw the playoff rotation in the second half today, and specifically to start the fourth quarter. It looked good. Like
Right.
the playoff rotation looked good, and that's a great early sign. So a lot of silver linings, but yeah, the vibes are
Yeah.
definitely off.
Yeah.
Definitely off so far.
Yeah. I hope they hear all the outside noise though. I'm hoping they're seeing all of it because I mean it's getting crazy, man. It's like I'm watching, the real app, the real sports app, whatever. You can watch the box score and there's gonna be people
Yeah.
commenting on it. And I opened it maybe 3 times when I like wasn't watching the game for whatever reason. Um and like underneath the recent play, every single time I open it up, it was a comment that said like something about the Nuggets fall off. Like Nuggets fall off is
Yeah.
insane. I'm like, dude, it's 3 games. Like, what if
I
this
see it a lot.
happened? What if this happened in the middle of like January, like from January 18th through the 21st? I don't think anybody would like bat an eye. They lost 2 games in a row. Like what?
Yeah,
The
I've seen a lot of like Nuggets fall off stuff
Well, and then
on
all this
Twitter
stuff
and
about
Instagram.
like anonymous this, anonymous that, anonymous scout says, Jamal's not good. Anonymous GM says Michael Porter is overrated. Anonymous player says Jamal is easy to guard. Like, where is all this? Is this just all like Lakers? Like, does it all stem from Lakers like stuff? I don't know.
I
Like,
think so. Like I don't
I
know
do
where
too. I
else
think
it
it
would
all
come from.
comes from Lakers just
Yeah,
hatred because
because
I,
I
I
look
don't
at it
know.
like last season, the only team the Nuggets talk trash to, or the only team where they like kind of hoisted the championship thing a little bit was against the Lakers because they swept them in the regular season. They beat them on opening night. They beat them on some LeBron thing. I don't remember what it was. They beat them on Kobe Day. Like they did, like, and then they beat them in the playoffs again after playing like ass for 5 games and still won.
Yeah,
So like,
dude.
yeah,
And
I
then
think it's from that. Like, there no other team has a reason to not like the Nuggets. There's nothing that they've done or like talk trash about or anything like that. Every other team they've
yeah,
actually like complimented. Like Minnesota, they've been very complimentary about them. Even when they won the championship, like, yeah, Minnesota was the hardest series. Like that was the toughest team that we had to play. Phoenix was like, yeah, dude. I mean, KD and Book had 2 unbelievable games in a row. Like hard to play. The only team that was like, oh yeah, we don't care was the Lakers. So I think that's
I know. But yeah, I think it just comes from it's just Lakers fans, man. Like it just Lakers fans are soft and they're just insecure. I mean, that's all it is. Like,
yeah.
um, and then all of a sudden NBA Central is probably some Lakers fan. Like all these big pages are always Lakers
Oh
fans
yeah.
too.
Legion Hoops is we already know he's a
Uh,
Lakers fan.
um, so yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty
There's a lot.
crazy, man.
I hope the Nuggets just have some fight, some fire, some motivation going forward. Like that is what they need. That's all that they need to win a championship. Like I legitimately believe that. They just have some energy, some fight and like pride
Yeah,
in going and getting a ring, then they can do it. I think once playoff time comes around, um then we're really going to start to see kind of the truer Nuggets come out. Because like I said it when they signed him, I said it all last year. Last year, what they were missing was a guy who didn't have a ring. Like so much of the fact they won the ring in 2023 was the fact that they had Jeff Green, DeAndre Jordan, Nish Smith, and Reggie Jackson, guys who everybody around the league loves. No one ever says anything bad about any of those guys, regardless of how bad they've been in their stops. And the guys who have been on so many different teams, guys who have been in so many different situations around the league, and they got him a ring. Like that, they had the motivation to go do it for somebody other than themselves. Last year was kind of just like, okay, yeah, we want to do it for the team, obviously, but it wasn't like one singular point that the team could rally around. I think Russell Westbrook can be that because this very well might be his last ride in the
Yeah.
NBA. Like
Yeah.
it very well could be. I don't know if there's another team that's going to give him a shot
Is the
after this.
contract like a team option or a player?
I think it's a player.
So I
So
mean, he could come back,
he
right?
could come back, and he's cheap enough for Denver to just cut after, like even if he
Yeah.
accepts it, um, and not really have that many penalties.
Yeah.
So like these next year and a half, 2 years for Russell Westbrook could very well be his last in the NBA. I know Jokic wants to do it for him because him and Russ somehow became friends. Peyton Watson wants to do it for Russ as a guy who he
Even I mean,
grew up next to.
Aaron Gordon said
Aaron
it.
Gordon, yeah, he said he wants to do it. He'll do whatever he can to get Russ a ring. Like, I think once you get close to the playoff time, they kind of sense it. It's like, all right, we're starting to get into our form now, and we understand what we have to do. Then we'll start to see it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's hard. Like, we've seen this team do what they need to do in the playoffs. Like, we've seen them win a championship, and like, so when you come into the regular season, as a fan, I wasn't even like that excited when opening night came around because I was like, it doesn't matter. Like playoffs are what actually matters.
Right. Right.
So as a player who has been through that, I can't even imagine like what they're feeling. So
For sure.
I think that's what it comes down to. This is a team that knows what an actual winning time is, and it's a new team, so they gotta get to that point. But
Yeah. It is
yeah,
just pretty. It's pretty just cool seeing. Like, who would have thought Westbrook would be just like
yeah,
contributing on the Nuggets? Like, just seeing
yeah,
him in the box score, like that's gonna be sick to look back on in like 20 years.
yeah.
Like the Russell Westbrook on our team contributing, and if you can get him a ring, man, that'd be legendary.
Think about the players he's been to that he has not been able to win a ring next to, dude.
Right?
LeBron James, James Harden, Kevin Durant, like some
Kawhi Leonard,
Kawhi Leonard, right? Like these are guys who I would say every
Bradley
NBA fan
Beal.
probably
No,
has over
okay.
Jokic.
Yeah,
If Jokic gets him a ring,
I know,
changes
right?
a lot. Changes a lot. I also will say we went through 40 minutes talking about the Nuggets, and we didn't mention that Jokic just had back-to-back 40-point double doubles.
I said one thing about him like hitting
Yeah.
10 threes in 2 games.
Yeah, the
And
one
we
thing we
just
said was
walked.
negative. It was like, yeah, he's not gonna hit 10 threes in
Yeah.
2 games again. Like, this
Damn,
is
we
so
take him.
good.
I know we took like I'm just looking at 18 for 27. I'm like, okay, whatever. But I'm I'm more focused on the Murray. Like, damn, he should be better. I'm just completely ignoring like
Yeah.
18 for
Like
27 full.
honestly, the first thing I noticed when I look at his box score is like, bro, 4 assists?
No,
Like
seriously. Like, why isn't that like higher? Like, why isn't that a 2-digit number in the assist section right there?
yeah. Like he is so good. It is like it's like mind-boggling. Like it is actually unbelievable how good this guy is at basketball. So at the very least, I feel like I have to remind Nuggets fans of this so often. This is the best player you will ever see in a Nuggets uniform. And I'm not like there's
Yeah,
nobody better ever coming to this franchise. So do not take it for granted whatsoever. This guy is a once in a lifetime player. Just enjoy it. At the very least, like for me, the regular season, dude, I just get to watch Jokic cook and just dominate
I
as
know.
much as possible. Like that's all that I want to. That's all that I want to see.
It's
So
just
I'm
so
happy with
like
that.
it really is like calming, man. Like I'll look forward to it, during the middle of the day. I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to see like Jokic just conduct the offense and like just
Yeah,
like I just want to see him in the post right now, just have the ball.
yeah.
Um
It's
like
just
that stuff
so
just
easy for him,
I
man.
know.
He's so
And
good.
it's
We could
beautiful,
honestly
man.
have 40 minutes where we do talk about Jokic, but we
Yeah.
do only have 4 minutes left in Zoom's
Uh-uh.
crappy 40-minute jail time. Um, but yeah, Nuggets do have a back-to-back tomorrow. So we'll see. Maybe at the end of the week they did have back to back. They play Saturday, so maybe we could talk about them then going after the week. Also, 2 back to backs in a week. I mean, is insane. NBA, what are we doing? Um, so yeah, but things are there. There's hope for the Nuggets. It's not sky's not falling. Everyone needs to relax.
Yeah.
Just don't look through my group chat messages because you see things that contradict everything.
No,
So,
during the game, it's hard to like keep perspective, but then
oh my god, dude! I'm saying like, dude, blow up the team. Like, God, this team sucks. Everyone stinks. God, Murray's out of shape and he sucks. And give him money for no reason. Then after the game, it's like, oh,
yeah.
all right.
That's yeah.
That's gonna be it for me. I don't have anything else.
No.
But